Hey, good
Yeah.
evening again, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session for my Code Without Barriers virtual meetup. So today's topic for session is charting the Azure horizon and revealing the power of cloud. So yeah, so basically we're gonna have a cloud basics and some of the things that you will can jump into on Azure technologies. So today we have our speaker Felix, uh, who is um, who is a full stack developer at PwC Filipina, and also he's a community lead at Angular Philippines. So he's gonna take us through the topic and what is the basics of it on the cloud. And yeah, I just want to let you guys know that the session is recorded. You do not need to record it on your side, and we provide the recording as well. And then there is certificate of participation. You can get it at the end of it. So make sure you climb it. And yeah, we'll be sharing the links to our community, any resources that you will be helpful for your learning. Everything will be in the chat box. Make sure you kind of check it on a frequent basis so that you don't miss it. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great session, and I'll just move it to Felix to get started.
Nice. Thanks, Sarag, for that wonderful introduction. So, here in the Philippines, good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. I know it's still Tuesday, and or some other place there would be Monday. Today we're gonna talk about charting the Azure horizon on what to explore with Microsoft Azure. This is especially for people who are still starting out. If you are still not yet decided whether you want to use Microsoft Azure on your business, for your studies, for practicing, I hope this is something that could help you on realizing the benefits of not just Microsoft Azure actually, but also utilizing cloud tools nowadays. That's very important. So yeah, for today, we're going to discuss about. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then we're gonna talk about what is cloud computing. So this is targeted on people who really wonder what really cloud computing is, or not sure its purpose or benefits. So, and then after that, we're going to talk about Microsoft Azure, of course. This is Microsoft's cloud computing platform. So we're gonna go a little bit on the details on the services of Microsoft Azure. But since this is more like a beginner approach, I won't be really demonstrating each of the features and services of Microsoft Azure because they have tons, like they have so many services available right now, um, that it will take us very long time if we're going to discuss it one by one. And then I'm gonna take you on the portal of Microsoft Azure, so that we just get a glimpse on what it looks like, so that for those who are a bit intimidated or when it comes to not just Microsoft Azure actually, but other platforms, cloud platforms as well. It's not that really hard to understand, although you can really see many services. So yeah, let's get started. So a little bit about me. So I'm currently a full stack developer at PwC AC Manila. Aside from that, I also am one of the community leads at Angular Philippines. So I just graduated information technology last year, but during my college days, I was already working as a full stack developer and doing also outside community stuff, especially in the tech community here in the Philippines. Yeah, so that's just some of the activities I've been doing aside from attending seminars, community events. I've also done speaking engagements in universities here in the Philippines, and also do webinars as well as engage in activities in our company. Yeah. So I mainly do full stack development, and aside from that, I also do mobile. app development and also UI and UX design. It is something that I want to focus on. Although nowadays AI has been more prominent, it's something that I am trying to uh take on as well. So I've been studying about AI as well, but my specialty revolves around these three so far. Yeah, so I also got my certifications within the past year for the AZ900 Azure Fundamentals, AI Fundamentals, and Data Fundamentals of Microsoft Azure. So these certifications actually are uh, sponsored by our company, so I got it for free. However, this is something that you must of course do yourself, and actually it is not that very hard as long as you know the concept and how it works. Yeah, so let's proceed now with cloud computing. So cloud computing, if for those who don't know cloud computing is, it's not the literal meaning that there are computers in the cloud. Yeah, just like this meme. So it's just a computer somewhere else. So it's a not I think not like your typical personal computer, but a big, big computer that can handle hundreds of thousands or millions of processes in matter of what seconds. So they are very powerful computers that are in a specific location and different location. So those are called data centers, wherein we can access computing resources. So this is where the cloud gets into, right? So with the cloud, we basically can access resources that are usually found in computers via the internet. So if you guys are using Microsoft OneDrive, the streaming platforms, and other actually plenty of tools nowadays are on in the cloud, so you can access your for example photos or documents. You don't have to store it in a flash drive anymore, or a hard disk drive anymore. You can just access it via the internet. As long as you have internet, you can access those documents and resources there. So what's the difference between the cloud computing and the traditional one? So um before, based from what I understand when I was still a bit young, um companies, schools, and every businesses must have a server or like a physical IT room for their business to work on. And the difference is that today there are a boom of startups. So meaning there are uh, starting businesses that doesn't really rely on the physical hardware anymore. So that's one of the benefits of the cloud. So with that, companies or startups and people doesn't have to buy expensive hardware anymore. They don't have to maintain the physical server or hire a another IT staff to maintain those servers. Then they don't have to do upfront payment, since those kinds of computers and servers are very expensive to buy. Yeah, so how cloud computing works is that, again, it's just another computer in another place called data centers, and it is like a massive pool of servers in a specific location. Then it's also very secured, since it is very protected, not just from hacking but also in physical. So there would be it's not uh scattered around places. There you go. So next, let's talk about the types of cloud depending on the responsibility of the user. So this is the shared responsibility model. So if you guys have heard about SaaS or software as a service, PaaS or platform as a service, IaaS or infrastructure as a service, and then on-premise. As you can see here on this illustration, for let's start on the right, okay? So for on-premise, you the customer, this is the traditional way before. You are responsible for everything. You are not just responsible on your information and data, the devices, accounts. You're also uh, responsible with the applications, how to how they communicate, the networks, the operating system, the physical host, the network and data center. You must have it on your place, on a specific place that you can access. That's what on-premise is. So with moving on to the next one, the infrastructure as a service, the vendor, or what we say Microsoft here in this example, takes away that responsibility. So they provide the physical host, they provide the network, they provide the data center, and then the rest is your responsibility. Then for platform as a service, the vendor takes away that responsibility so that you don't have to worry about them. But as you can see here, there are like 50-50 because it's up to you, or it depends on the complexity, whether it's something that the customer or the Microsoft or the vendor would be accountable or like responsible for. Then for software as a service, this is a model wherein most or like plenty of the services or the responsibility is on the part of the vendor. And then of course the information and data, the devices, accounts and identities are all responsible of the customer. So that Microsoft won't be able to tap into it, and it's more on you could customize it, you manipulate it however you want it to. So it's just a matter of weighing in on when you're starting a business on which model is more perfect in you, or like depending on your capabilities and goal for your, for example, company or business. Okay. Next, for the cloud model. So as you can see here, um, there are different types of clouds. For private cloud, it is something that the vendor will uh, give solely for use, like the private. It's private cloud. It's like a private um, pool of resources, specifically dedicated on you, on your business. Yeah, so it provides a much greater control, and it, although it gives you full access and like um specific access for you only, it does come with a greater cost. So it's a bit costly if ever that's something na model that you would like to go with. And then on contrary of that, we have public cloud. This is something where this is where me or other or you that are trying to still study about cloud can access many of public, the model of public cloud or shared services or shared uh in a shared environment, so that people can purchase or access that resources either it's free or it costs very little. So we're talking about like cents or quarter of dollars, something like that. So it's very cheap. But again, since you have other people who sharing resources, there might be the downside might be it wouldn't be as fast, and it wouldn't be as the connection, for example, wouldn't be as reliable as someone with a private cloud. So for the next one, here comes the hybrid cloud, where it's a mix of both. it can allow private cloud resources to be increased on demand, and then there could be an extra layer where it can be secured so that it's specifically focused on your business, for example. Yeah, and it actually depends on you, on the business, on what you're trying to do, on which type of cloud model would you want to go with. But usually for beginners, we usually go with the public cloud, and especially those with free resources or free access. Yeah. Okay. Next, benefit of using cloud services. So this these four actually are one of the key benefits of using cloud services. One is that it's highly available and scalable. So imagine if you are an online store, an e-commerce store, and then what Black Friday sale comes up or Christmas sale comes up, and then there's a sudden boom with the number of customers in your e-commerce site. And then the good thing about that is that many of the cloud platforms enables you for your resources to be scalable, automatically scalable. So that mean that if there's a sudden boom of customers, it can allocate more resources on those on the e-commerce store, so that it won't have to be bottlenecked or having a problem with slow connectivity. So aside from that, the reliability and predictability. With reliability, meaning that you're able to you can trust the platform for it to be secured, since they have a bunch of security measures. So aside from that, the Microsoft Azure or cloud service is always available, or like it's not that hard, it's not that easy to get down, like the service to be down. And with predictability, it always shows you logs or useful information on how is your resources or a specific cloud resource is going, whether it's the costs are being too high, or it's there's predicted that the power would be, or like the consumption would be too high. It will always alert you. So for security and governance, as I've said before, uh, cloud services have a security measure, as well as they adhere to not just those security measure, but also governance on how those security measures are applied. So for example, you have a set of rules that you want to apply, so that specific people can only do specific things, something like that, as well as being able to adhere with the data privacy of countries, I guess especially in the US. They adhere onto those kinds of laws. And then manageability, that's as I've also shown on the shared responsibility model. You can choose which part you'd like to, for Microsoft Azure to be the one who does that, and the part where you go in, or like you can manage. So it's very flexible in a sense. Then next is, yeah, here is a like, I know this is outdated, I guess, but and this is not all the services. So this is just a comparison. So often thing that people are having a hard time right now is like, if they dedicate their time on a specific cloud platform, they think that they are afraid, for beginners, they are afraid on to pick one. But really, it's just the services, or like how it works, is almost the same, with just a little bit of flair or added features. Like for example, in AWS Elastic Compute. It's just like the virtual machine, and for Google Cloud, it's called Compute Machine. And then it's just a difference in name, maybe on the UI, of course, or the how you configure it, but it's essentially the same. The purpose of it, and these are not all of the services. So I think it's more than that. It's very that's just a small part of their all services. And so of course, it all boils down on what your business need, on what you need. Um, because maybe there might be a service that the other platform doesn't have. So that's something that you should consider as well. So yeah, let's get into the Azure specifically. So Microsoft Azure, it is a set of cloud services that helps customer meet current and future business challenges. It's a comprehensive cloud platform that covers over 200 different resources or services rather. Then often I often notice that Microsoft Azure with its built-in ecosystem and environment for that is integrated as well with MS365, of course. It's not just for big companies. So there are also startups that use Microsoft Azure. You can also use it um, since it is a flexible platform. Medium-sized company can also use it. Government agencies and educational institutions, as well as healthcare organizations, are using it. Uh, I think notable companies would use that use Microsoft Azure is Samsung. Yeah. And then mm, it's a wide network already. So Microsoft is a big company, a very big company, and they have invested a lot of money and resources into building data centers, not just on one part of the globe, but a whole network of it. So for the next slide, yeah, you can see here um, the data centers around the world of Microsoft Azure. And then um, you don't, it doesn't have to be like there should be a data center on your country. So as long as you are near to a data center, you can have access onto it. And with us here in Asia, there's like more connected our networks. So that's one of the things that was also mentioned that I also mentioned earlier, the reliability, because we have this kind of availability zones that are for specific regions. And then we have like we can have backups from for example Asia, and then America. We can have a backup of our we also have a backup of our resources. And then that on certain circumstance, like for example an emergency, our services won't be down. So yeah, because it would be hard, it would be very hard if a big company that gives tech services and then suddenly goes down. And then you know especially if in social media platforms as big as Facebook, for example, if they'll be down, which the whole world is already like posting all about it. Oh, Facebook is down, the Twitter is down, Instagram is down, something like that. But it will be back up for like what, a minute, 5 minutes max. So that's the power of the network of data centers. Yeah, of Microsoft Azure. So now next, we'll discuss the core Azure services, because we will not going to tackle all of it. Just these core services: the compute, storage, and network. This is also something that is focused, or like something that us developers and beginners alike might encounter. So this is something that I've already encountered before while practicing and also at work. So we're going to talk about more details about compute services, storage services, and then networking services. Yeah, so for compute services, we have Azure Virtual Machine. This is something like a virtual computer that you can access, and you have a total control over the operating system. You can run custom software. You can configure the settings, how the operating system works, and you can use it when testing or development of software so that it can run your application. And for example, try a scenario where it's deployed and do a bunch of testing in it. And you can also access that resources during like recovery. For example, your local files have been um like destroyed, or for example, you need access to a backup data. You can actually access them through virtual machine as well. And for next one is containers. This is a virtualization environment wherein it is more contained VMs, and there are a specific set of settings or configurations that are already set on those containers so that you can run your application without having to problem on installing the packages, or what operating system to use, or other else that is often a problem when developing locally. Like for example, this runs on my machine, but it doesn't run on another person's machine. So the Azure containers, we can use that to containerize application and for them to be usable still. Then for Azure functions, this is one of the features that I like because it makes coding a bit easier. So since it's event driven, meaning you only code the function, yeah, as little as a function actually of the of what you want to do. So then a compute service is allotted onto it to run that function. So for example, you just want a REST API that is just create, read, update, delete. There's just one. There's a small, very small purpose, right? So you don't have to create it anymore on your local. You don't have to then deploy it. You can just write it through Azure functions and then deploy it through Microsoft Azure, and then you can actually use it already. Then next is Azure App Service, something that I also use very frequently, is where you can deploy your applications so that it could be accessible via uh, on the web, and then you can do the, for example, REST APIs and also your front end. So that's what Azure App Service is. Yeah. So next would be the storage services. Okay. So we have here Azure Blobs, tables, and Azure Files. Azure Blobs handles unstructured data. So this would be files, file uploads, pictures, images, videos, and then that can be accessed by your application. This is so if you don't have to have a storage already on your, again, on your physical storage. When development, you can just use it. For me, I used it for when I was trying to create a machine learning model. I uploaded all of the data sets there. So that I don't have to worry about it or like storing it on my computer, something like that. Then Azure Tables can store large amounts of structured data. It is a NoSQL data store that accepts authenticated calls from inside and outside Microsoft Azure. So, and then for Azure files, it is more like kind of like the OneDrive itself. It's a you can manage the file access there. You can apply scripts there for more configurations, and it's very resilient and secure. Then next would be the networking service. So for Azure Virtual Network, this is where you can enable your resources to have communication with each other. So before, like you can have services or resources individually, and then you can use Azure Virtual Network for communicating. For example, this module or like microservice, then you can communicate with another microservice. And then for VPN, virtual private network, you can use encrypted tunneling for accessing networks and other uh, services. Then for Azure Domain Name System, yeah, so you can use it to manage your domain of your web application or any application when you deployed it in the cloud. So aside from that, there are also like other Azure services here. For data and database, there's a Azure SQL Database, Azure Cosmo DB, and Azure Data Lake Storage. So as if you would ask, what would be the difference between these and also the storage service of Microsoft Azure is that blobs are designed for binary data such as images, videos, audio files. And then for Azure Tables, it's a key value store, ideal for storing large amount of data such as logs. And then for SQL database, this is our traditional SQL, kind of like a SQL server, but in the cloud. Then for Cosmo DB, it's a NoSQL, and that is also Cosmo DB is rather their take Microsoft's take on the database platform itself. Yeah, I guess so. That's it for the whole concepts, and I'm going to let's take a pick on what the portal looks like. Although unfortunately, right now I don't have a resource. I don't have a subscription going, so this is what the Azure portal looks like. And before you can access each of those services, you must have actually a subscription. A subscription is something that you need to avail so that this is where you will get billed. Bill by like this is where you will get the payment or like the how much you're going to pay. So you can add subscriptions here, add a budget on what amount are you willing to spend on, or like have an alert. For example, so that if you meet this certain amount or threshold, Microsoft Azure will might either like notify you first and then stop, so that you avoid incurring additional or unnecessary costs. Because one of the nightmares of developers that are working with cloud is that if they their application or services that they're deploying on the cloud are consuming too much, or maybe they forgot to stop it, or like a practice project, they forgot to stop it, it will incur cost that is actually connected to your credit card. So that's something that's why the port Microsoft Azure first would want you to have subscriptions, and it is a very detailed settings wherein you can configure everything that you need to before trying to access services. So we can see all the services right now. Yeah, so this is all the Microsoft services. So if you've noticed, the things that I discussed are actually just a small piece of everything Azure. Even I having those three certifications already, I have knowledge on specific parts only of Microsoft Azure, but I can really say that I have worked on everything. So but really you don't have to know everything. You don't have to master everything. Only the parts wherein you need to work on. So depending on your needs and depending on what are your goals, what your goals are as a developer, as a student, as a beginner, on practically each and every one of these services have, if you hover onto it, they have a corresponding Microsoft Learn uh, documentation. So Microsoft Learn is Microsoft documentation platform and learning platform as well, wherein I guarantee you that for the three certifications I passed, actually I did not have to pay anything for the training. You just really have to do learning on Microsoft platform. So unfortunately, yeah, if we try to access, yeah, virtual machines, we don't have subscription right now. So here's an example. This is what the Microsoft Learn looks like. And yeah, as I've said already, you can practice here, try to learn more about Microsoft Azure, starting with this one. Yeah, so you just have to actually type AZ 900 or Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, and this is your like first step towards Microsoft Azure. And preparing for this exam has been really easy, although there has been tons of concepts that was tackled on this one, uh, even more detailed and extensive than what I just discussed for this session. So if you would like to continue or you're more curious about it, my presentation actually is based from the this Microsoft Azure Fundamentals course under their AZ 900 certification. So you just have to type, AZ 900. Then you can type that and then it's on the top actually. And then you can click on it. Scroll down a bit to see this one, prepare for exam, then this course. Yeah. So like for example, describe cloud concept, Azure architecture and services, and then Azure management and governance. Yeah, this will give you a whole introduction, a very solid introduction into Microsoft Azure. And you don't actually have to pay for it. This is completely free. And if you are a student, I really encourage you to avail this GitHub Student Developer Pack because you have I believe you will have access to plenty of free resources while you're still a student. So I really recommend it, you know. So, yeah, for example, here, yeah, this one, Microsoft Azure, you have uh $100 of Azure credit, which is very useful if you would like to, get your hands dirty on testing and trying to learn more hands-on with Microsoft Azure. And aside from that, there are plenty uh of benefits. So yeah, I wish I was still a student. So if you guys have you can just check it out like education.github.pack slash pack. You can search GitHub Student Developer Pack, and actually yeah, we can provide you the link here. So let me just check. Okay, maybe I'll ask Surag to share the link later. Um, so that's the link for the portal. That's the link for the education.github.com/app. So yeah, if you're a student, try to utilize that. Thanks, Surag. Then this is for Microsoft Learn, and I guess that's it for me, and I hope you've learned something from me right for this session, and at the very least, spark your interest in trying to discover more about Microsoft Azure and cloud as a whole as well, since it is a very in demand skill right now. And as with what's here going on here every month at Stiava, um, there are plenty more technologies that we can learn that are very useful in trying to ease our life as developers. And yeah, so that's it for me. Thanks, guys. And if you have questions, try to you can chat it here, I guess.
Yeah. So thank you, Felix, for the session and taking the time. I know you just finished your work, came home, and then we go directly into a session. It takes a lot of effort to prepare the presentation and conjoin, and really do appreciate it, your effort. Um, and there was somebody was asking for the presentation. Is that okay to be shared with them? You are currently on mute.
I again. Sorry. So what were you asking again?
I was asking if it's okay to be sharing your presentation with the attendees.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. So I'll just send you later the link, I guess. So the shareable
Sure,
link. Yeah. Great.
sure, that works. There are a couple of questions in the chat box. Do you want me to read it out for you, or
Yeah, sure. I don't know actually where to start because there have been like, the community is very active, which is great.
there's a couple of questions. I think back during your presentation, there was somebody asking as well regarding the deep learning, transformers, the based architecture. There was a question on that. So yeah,
So for yeah, so since you can actually have a model deployed using Microsoft Azure. I actually tested it once, and although it was very hard to start, I was able to get through it by reading some documentations, tutorials, and do some trial and errors. So for that project alone, it's a relatively small project. It costed me uh less than $5. So I really had to invest for those kind, especially with AI right now, since it's using tons of resources. So when trying to use or to trying to create a machine learning model or making it more advanced, expect that you would have to incur costs unless you have free credits or like voucher, not really vouchers, but you have a means to practice. Since but hey, think about it, it's really actually an investment on your part. It's an investment on my part. That's why I was able to do it. And I know money is not really that easy to get, but if you think about it, your learning or your future self might benefit it. So try to discover it. Although it's not covered here since this is more on like a beginner or like a fundamentals session. Okay, so I guess I can read some of the questions here. I'm going from the very bottom to top. So Jaira asked, what are the key benefits and challenges of adapting cloud solutions in transforming business operations. So to answer that question, I actually let's go back on the first one. The first things that I discussed. Um, if you notice, it's actually what I've noticed as well. There have been a sudden boom with the number of startups, right? Because our capabilities to is limitless nowadays, almost limitless. We can start a startup at the comfort of our home. We can deploy our whatever e-commerce store um, on the cloud. So it has been very easy to start. And right now, I think, and this is what I noticed, what matters more right now is the idea or the solution or of your product itself rather than the means on how to build it, because there have been plenty of resources nowadays for us. Yeah, thank you for that question. Mm, yeah, let's connect on LinkedIn. Actually, you can scan the QR code if you guys have your phones right now. You can scan the QR code here in the presentation, and it will lead you to the links that to my socials.
I think we went over all the questions.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm trying to. So someone asked here, what's is the salary of a full stack developer in dollars? So it it depends on the country. So even if it's not actually, it depends in the country. But yeah, something that I suggest always to beginners, since this is how I started, is I try not to look. I know it's very important, and I realize that as well. I know I have experienced that as well. But learning first, and then try to practice, try to study, learn, and absorb as much as you can, and then the money will just follow you. Yeah. Any more questions? It doesn't have to be question, or if you would like to say something, you just want to interact.
Yeah, they cannot actually ask questions directly, but we still
Yeah.
have to, uh, let them drop their messages. But if there is anybody who wants to directly ask question, let me know, or just drop a message that you want to ask directly, or even raise your hands for it, so I can give you the mic access. Mm, okay. I'm just gonna drop the certificate link. You guys can get it. People were asking. So yeah, that's certificate link. It's automated. Probably gonna go right over there. Yeah, I think yeah, about the slides, I'll get it from Felix and then share it over the email. Um, for if you have registered for session, you should receive it. Cool. Okay, I think we went over everything. That's all of it. I think we can give it a break for Felix and have a good rest of the day for him. So yeah, I think we're good. Thank you again, Felix, for joining us, and really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for joining as well. And we still have sessions coming up. Make sure you check out our website for the upcoming one. Thank you, and have a good rest of the day.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.